The best thing for me is the flexibility in hours and being able to I actually don't feel very good today. I'm gonna go to the gym and kind of get my head clear and then maybe do a little bit of work. And then the next day I am more ready to put in like a longer day. Whereas if you're at a normal job, especially with someone like me who can be kind of moody and from day to day, my mind is very different. I think that flexibility has been really helpful in maintaining my mental health and growing as a person.
On this show, we always talk about how hard it is to be a video creator and to make YouTube videos. And we always talk about all the trials and tribulations that come with being a video creator, but not today, not on today's show. No, we are optimists today. And we're going to talk about why it's the best business model in the world. It's the best job, and why, if you're not already creating videos, you should start at least. Welcome back, everybody, to the Video Creator Show. My name is Augie. I'm here with my co-host Grant, and we are here to talk all about how to succeed on YouTube. And today we're going to be talking about why being a YouTuber or creating content is part of the best business models that are out there these days. And this seems to be kind of a secret, maybe 10 years ago, but now the word is out and people are taking note that really is the best business model. I mean, if you're going to start a business today and you're like, hey, I want to invest all this money, I want to do this and start a business, I would say first, why don't you go and try to create some content? Why don't you try to start a YouTube channel about, maybe whatever that industry is. And then if you can start to gain traction, then you already kind of have distribution built in when you launch that business. So we're going to be talking about business today. I love business, and on this podcast, I'm always kind of the business sided guy that's trying to bring up business topics, and Grant's more the creative, the one who is more the intellectual being of the two. You like that, Grant?
Philosophical, artsy, very
there we
creative.
go.
Just a total genius,
So we're going to get kind of both sides today. So the first reason I just want to bring up right now that I think it's the best business model in the world is because you can take your hobby, your passion, what you really love. Maybe it's not your 9-to-5 job, and you can turn that into your daily job by creating an audience, creating a business behind it. And now you can live day to day in one of your passions. And Grant, do you feel like that's kind of what you did with your YouTube channel that you guys grew to over, 900,000 subscribers, and it was in the video game world? Is that what you were doing at the time? Were you like, hey, we love video games, we're going to do this?
Basically, yeah. I mean, we're a bunch of college kids and we're always playing video games. And, my couple of my friends first wanted to start a channel just playing games and recording them, the Let's Play genre. And it wasn't until we branched into scripting content and I kind of took my video editing chops and my writing ability, created our first show, The Story You Never Knew, that really took off. That's when we were able to turn our passion for video games into an actual job. And it was a lot of fun too. It was also a crazy wild ride. I agree, content creation is the best job in the world, but I will say I don't play many video games anymore. I think becoming a professional gamer, so to speak, it did sort of take my hobby and turn it into a job. And now whenever I'm told to do a mission in a game, I'm like, oh, you want me to do work? So that can happen if you're not careful. But I also spent 7 years making videos about video games, so I can't complain. I completely appreciate the journey of doing so. So yes, it's the best job. It affected me beautifully on a personal level, even when it was awful.
Yeah, and I did the same thing, right? I've created basketball training videos. I've grown up playing basketball my whole life. I love basketball. I'm a basketball coach to this day. So that's what I did too. And so I was able to turn my passion of what I loved into money. And that was great. So a job, a career, a business. So that's the number one reason why I think it is such a great business model, is because, you can turn what you love into a way to make money and make a living. So there it is. Okay. That's kind of clear as day. That's kind of the easy one to get out of the way. But I wanted to show an example first of somebody that's done this. And this guy, he's been showing up in a lot of different videos. His name of his YouTube channel is Epic Gardening. And a lot of people are kind of breaking down his business, and he's showing up, like I said, and doing interviews, talking about how much money his business is making, and it's making $30 million a year as of a recent video. His name is Kevin Esperito, probably saying the last name wrong, but he is the founder of Epic Gardening, and his YouTube channel. I'll share it on the screen right now. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. If you're listening, go check out our YouTube so you can get the visuals and hit subscribe when you're there. But let me go ahead and share my screen. And in one of these business videos, he mentioned that he just was very curious about a lot of different things. During the pandemic, he wanted to get outside and do some gardening. He fell in love with it. It became a hobby. And that's where this whole thing started as a blog with written content and then turned into a YouTube channel with written video content, of course. And you'll see that his content is very clean. I love his thumbnail style. It's very like a blurry background with something in the forefront, but it's not like super bright colors like we're normally used to seeing. So really refreshing thumbnail style to me, using just high quality imagery. What do you think, Grant, as I scroll through this?
These are excellent thumbnails. Yeah, most of them have his face, not all of them. But I mean, clearly it works, and his text is very aesthetic. I think the important thing is all of his thumbnails feel very aesthetic. He uses the same fonts in kind of drop shadow and black outline every time, and it's a very consistent brand. Like whether it's his face or the text style, or like the high quality image of plants or berries or flowers or whatever it is, like you can tell that it's his video even if you're not, like, even if you don't look at the channel.
Yeah, and he's got 2.84 million subscribers, 570 videos. His most popular video is from 3 years ago and it has 10 million views. This is long form. It's called How to Grow Ginger in Containers and Get a Huge Harvest. So I'm sure that's ranking for search terms as well as getting recommended by the algorithm to people that are interested in gardening. He also links directly to his website. So this is where we're going to start talking about the business side a little bit. Like I said, it's insane that you could start a $30 million a year business off of a YouTube channel in the gardening niche, right? This isn't like some business consulting niche or some kind of high ticket thing. This is gardening. And what he did is he just ended up creating an e-commerce store, and he sells what people were asking him the most about in his backyard that he was using in his videos, and these pop-up planters. So I'm going to go ahead and get to that place right now on the website, and it's these pop-up planters that you're seeing in this imagery right here. He sells those for over $200. You can see them right here, $249, Birdie's medium raised garden bed. So stuff like that, right? So yeah, and so the interesting part is that the distribution is there. If I was to build this website, if I did all the work to develop the products and get everything set up and build this website, it would be crickets, right? Nobody would be there unless I wanted to run ads, and that's a whole money investment thing. But with this YouTube channel, and the reason I said at the beginning of this video was that if you're thinking about starting a business, get ahead of the curve so that you have distribution ready, already set up. You have your audience. If you want to start some kind of business, you can go and build the audience while you're building the product. So when it's time to come launch, there it is. You have your audience you can launch it to and do just like this guy. So any other further thoughts on this, Grant? Have you seen this kind of e-commerce style play before on YouTube?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a great move, just having a business that your channel feeds into, because one of the hardest things about making a living on YouTube is, you don't necessarily want to live off of ad revenue or even sponsorships, because sponsorships, it takes up maybe a minute or two of a video that affects your watch time negatively. So yes, they're paying you money, but if you have a business that your channel is pointing towards every time, and people know about this business, like, it almost runs itself. Like every video is essentially a commercial for your business, even when you're not overtly pitching everything. People develop a trust with you, and then they end up trusting your business. And all of this is just like, this is, I would say, almost YouTube 101, as far as if you're trying to monetize, the business side. This is the way to do it.
Yeah, and the kind of the old school way, right? There's like, we're educating you right now if you're listening to this on, how to monetize, and just kind of the new school way of monetizing, because the old school way was you get brand deals, you get those sponsorships, you get your ad revenue, maybe you do a course, or you do online coaching, or you do a Patreon. All these are kind of the old school way. The new school way, what creators are doing now is they are launching their own businesses that they can grow and eventually sell This guy, if has a $30 million a year business, he could sell this thing for $30 million or more, and it's not, directly tied to him. It's kind of its own brand. And that's what creators are starting to do. And that's why I'm telling you that being a video creator is the best business model there is, because we're not talking about brand deals anymore. We're talking about launching your own business, where now the ads in your videos are your own business that you own. You are going to promote it. You are still going to maybe have those little ad spots you were just mentioning. They might still exist, but you're promoting your own brand that, is building equity, and eventually you could sell someday. So that's exactly what this guy has done. Okay, so there's one way you can grow an audience, launch an e-commerce business or some kind of physical product business as its own entity, and that's great. Okay, another thing you can do is you can acquire a business, right? So you maybe just go hard and create your content. For me, I'm a basketball training YouTube channel. If I would have stuck with that, maybe it's big enough now, and I can have enough revenue, enough money saved up, I can acquire maybe some basketball camp, right? I can spend the money, I can acquire, and that is now my business. That is now my back end, in comparison to having to go and create the products myself and do all that. And that's a newer one. Okay, that's definitely a newer one, but we've seen a few people do that. One person is Alex Hormozi. Okay, if you don't know who Alex Hormozi is, he creates business content. And Grant, you told me that you had just seen a recent video of his recently. Because here's the thing, like I said earlier, Grant is not consuming the business content like I am 24/7. He's into other content as well. I'm pretty much into basketball content and business content. So when Grant told me, oh yeah, I've watched some of his videos, I like his stuff, I was kind of surprised.
Mm-hmm.
When did
Yeah.
you find him?
So I found him last weekend, so just under a week ago.
Oh, but you said you did see him a couple times though, right? But maybe that's
Yeah,
what you dove into.
I'd seen him kind of around. I think he's appeared on podcasts and stuff, but last weekend was the first time I really got into it. And funny enough, like, you talk about his business content, which is most of what he talks about, but the video that got me into him was actually his video about essentially how to, like, find your future wife, dating advice. It's a pretty long video. It's like 30 minutes, and it was very wholesome. It felt really genuine, and it was kind of it was one of the few, like, quote unquote dating videos that actually made sense. It didn't feel like just mindless drivel of like a battle of the sexes kind of thing. And it was, yeah, it felt very wholesome and like good advice. And I could just tell, like, okay, this guy, like, he found his wife. He seems very happy and accomplished. I know he sold a business for like $46 million or something. Like, but he has his personal stuff figured out too, which meant a lot to me as kind of a creative person, of like figuring myself out. How do I find contentment? Which is very important, I think, when it comes to business as well. Because if you're a mentally unstable wreck, well, it's going to be hard to grow a business. So I kind of came to his content through that side of things, and then ended up watching some of his productivity videos and his more business minded videos. So I think it just speaks to the power of being a personality where, as long as you have something useful to say and people recognize your face, like, they will listen, and it will draw them into the rest of your content. Like, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into one thing if you are a personality that can kind of transcend multiple genres, whether it's dating advice, whether it's life advice, whether it's business advice, whether it's productivity advice. Like, it all kind of flows together on Alex Hormozi's channel. Like, he does it very well.
Yeah, and he really about 3 years ago said, I'm committed to being a content creator and creating content. And he sprayed the internet with a lot of content, almost like Andrew Tate style, where Andrew Tate was everywhere. There's this flooded with his videos. And, this YouTube channel, like I said, about 3 years ago is kind of where he started getting back into it seriously, has 2.2 thousand videos. That's a lot of videos. He's at 2.14 million subscribers. I'm not going to spend most people know who he is. Okay. If you watch business content, you've definitely seen some of his stuff. He's big, but, he never sold much to his audience. He sold books, a couple books, but he's never really tried to get them for $1,000 course or anything like that. But what he has done recently, and this is why I'm talking about acquiring a business, is he bought in really heavily into a software called School. So if I just scroll down, I'm sure I'll see a video on his channel where he's wearing a school hat, because that was more recently. Let me see, maybe not. Oh, that's odd. Seemed like he was
Got an acquisition.com hat.
that is definitely his business, and that's his business model. Is he invests into businesses, so he's getting all these inbound leads of business owners saying, hey, will you invest in my business? And he's picking the ones that he likes, and that's really his business model. Really genius. But anyway, I know if I clicked around long enough, I could find one where he's wearing it. But anyway, School is like a online community software, almost like a Facebook group, but you can charge people to be a part of it. It has an area to put courses. Maybe it's like a Kajabi or like a Teachable, these platforms where you can put your online courses and stuff. And it's a software for people that want to build that online community. It's really nice. It's great. It was created by Sam Ovens, who isn't another kind of content creator, just a whole nother rabbit hole there. But so he's now a co-owner there. You can see right here, co-owner of School. And it's a big play by him, and just something that I think we're going to start to see more and more creators doing, because, Logan Paul released Prime. Mr. Beast did the candy bars. I can't remember the name of them right now. Feastables, right? But, they built those from the ground up with partners and stuff, I think. But acquiring another company or just getting into something that's already successful, I think is a really genius idea.
Yep, totally agree. And I think it speaks also to the power of really living your life. Like, he was successful before he became a content creator. Like, he really went for it. And then after he found success, he was able to find even more success as a content creator. So, there's always time, I guess is what I'm saying. If you feel like you're hyper focused on building a business right now, that's okay. Like, maybe in a couple years, it would be more ideal. Or, you can kind of build the business and your content creation at the same time. But really, the more life experience you have, I think the more it ends up coming across on the camera. And I feel like with his channel in particular, like, he does have he has a visceral presence, shall we say, that really carries through. It makes me feel like I can trust him, that he's been around the block, and that everything he's saying he has tested himself. And I think one thing I like about him a lot is he'll challenge a lot of these ideas, right? I remember in one of his videos he said, these morning routines are very popular, and we made an episode about them. But like, he essentially said they'll grind really hard. They'll work, 50 to 70 hours a week or something, and then become very wealthy. And then they'll kind of change their tune about life. They're like, okay, I have the money I need. And now they start every morning with an ice bath and a run or whatever. And they think that's what made them successful. Like, if I had done the ice bath and had a run every morning, then I would have been even more successful. But they forgot that the thing that got them to their initial success was really just grinding and perseverance. It wasn't anything fancy. It wasn't a specific schedule. It was just do it as hard as you can for as long as you can. And that felt like really grounded advice. Like, somebody wrote in and was like, man, I do this like 3-hour morning routine and I'm so tired that I don't even want to work afterwards. And he's like, okay, cut the morning routine, do 3 hours of work. And then the guy was like, wow, this advice changed my life. Like, there's something very practical and refreshing about that, as opposed to, here's my bullet points for how you can succeed too. It felt just very simple and direct and honest, and I appreciated that about him.
Yeah, and I have to say that, not all results are typical with that guy, because he's very talented business creator. And at this point, he's gotten the reps, so he's just like, he's very good at what he does, because he's a great, debater. He's, a great speaker. And I think all that comes from just he was a great writer in his college days. So he's really good at creating content. I do agree with that. And, like we're saying, The truth of the matter is, though, that the power is in the audience. And he recognized that 3 years ago. He was doing all kinds of other businesses, not creating content. He wasn't focused on that. And he saw how valuable it was to create an audience, and he went all in on it. And that's kind of the reason for today's episodes. We're just talking about, as content creators, I don't think people understand that the value is in the audience. You have got to grow the audience. And the best part about it is that parasocial relationship. It's the difference between running ads and getting clicks from ads and then people getting clicks from YouTube videos. The people know you, they trust you, they've consumed content from you, you've already delivered lots of value to them. And so, yeah, people are just starting to recognize that, how important it is to have a presence. It might be a TikTok presence or an Instagram presence or something like that. But yeah, it puts you in positions, because Alex Hormozi wouldn't have been able to probably buy into school and be an owner of this now if he didn't have the audience. That's what made it possible. Same with the gardening guy. If he just had the website without the audience, he wouldn't have a $30 million a year business. And now what I'm starting to see is creators recognizing how valuable their audience is, when in the past they were, $2,000 for a brand deal, $1,000 for a brand deal, 500 here, 1,000 there. When now they're recognizing, I can acquire business and turn this into a real deal. I can, develop a product, a good product that could be its own withstanding business that could last when I die without the YouTube channel. There's a good option. And the third option that we haven't talked about yet is the partner option. So that's what we're starting to see now, is if you're going to come to me with a brand deal, I want equity. We're going to partner, and I'm going to be pushing Ridge wallets or whatever those things are. You ever seen those little Ridge card
Oh yeah.
holders?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's
I have a
the
Clip wallet myself, but not Ridge wallet in particular.
Okay. So I always butcher the names. Marquez Brownlee.
Mm-hmm.
So
Marquez Brownlee, yeah.
he's now owns equity in Ridge in a major amount, I think. And that just happened. So there's your example of a huge creator not getting the brand deal, but getting the equity and now being an owner of this. And we'll see how it works and how much he has to promote it and all that kind of stuff. But you're going to start to see him popping up with that card holder a lot now.
That's an interesting idea. I feel like that makes a lot of sense if you have an audience that is really substantial. Companies, I'm sure, will appreciate that if you already have a really big audience. And I'm guessing that also gives him a lot more freedom in like how he pitches products. If you're getting a different sponsorship every time, you kind of end up having to make these cookie cutter sponsorships of like, okay, it needs to be 60 seconds to 90 seconds, blah, blah, blah. But if you have equity in a company, then you're essentially part of the company. And I think that gives you more leeway on how you actually market this product. And that can actually be really good for your channel in general, is not having to have these really long sponsorships or something embedded in the video. You can really curate what you think is best for you and the business in a really customized way.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's good for both sides. Like I said, the audiences are so valuable as a business. It's so hard to get distribution. It's so hard to get your name out there. Like, it's just a win-win. You can focus on the product and the business. They can focus on the content and what they're good at. And they don't have to worry about, finding their next brand deal. They're already locked in. And what a partnership. Now they're motivated to grow their audience even more because they have this business that they're going to exit someday and retire off of, and I love this idea so much too, because like, you don't have to just partner with one. You could have you could be major stakeholder in 3 different businesses, as long as you're able to work that out with them. Yeah. Anyways, it's just it's the new school way, you guys. I think courses, online coaching, it won't go away or whatever, but I mean, that's all okay ways to monetize too. But if you are able to get to, I would say, 1 million subscribers and, getting good views on your videos, you might be able to start asking for some equity in some of these places that are asking you for brand deals. I think that's maybe just a guess, but what would you say, Grant?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And I just think it gives you a lot more leeway. And again, like, sponsorships can be really detrimental to a video if you aren't careful. So I really can't drive that home enough that, if you're able to partner with these companies, even if you're like a smaller channel and there's a smaller company that you believe in, it could be worth trying to partner with them. It's, it is more of a gamble, I think. I think it's easier to make this gamble as opposed to getting paid up front if you're already established and you already have enough wealth. I think if you're trying to pay rent, then maybe this isn't the best strategy. But if you aren't there, then maybe, just maybe, it makes sense to actually partner with a business, and they might actually be interested in you doing that. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's, this is why it is such a great business model, because you can just focus on creating content, do what you love. It could be your passion, and you can still be a business owner. Okay, so that's why I love this business model for people. Not to mention that it's your channel and you can kind of do what you want. You should have fun. You should enjoy creating your videos and all that, and enjoy making an impact, because that's what most YouTube channels are, is they are helpful and they help people. So there's that whole side to it too. Grant, what was another reason why it's a great business model and a great job?
Well, the best thing for me is the flexibility in hours and being able to, like, I actually don't feel very good today. I'm going to go to the gym and kind of get my head clear, and then maybe do a little bit of work. And then the next day, I am more ready to put in like a longer day. Whereas if you're at a normal job, especially with someone like me who can be kind of moody, and from day to day, my mind is very different. I think that flexibility has been really helpful in maintaining my mental health and growing as a person. I think for somebody like me, I really would have struggled to grow as much on a personal level in a normal job, just because of the structure of it. I just think that this flexibility is so huge, and it plays into my personality type a lot. And yeah, it's also, if you like to take risks, I do like taking risks. That's also an exciting thing about this is, every video you're kind of rolling the dice, like how's it going to play? And you could see this as a negative, but I especially think kind of in my 20s when I was building these channels, it was a lot of fun, and it was cool to see what works and what doesn't, and to do it firsthand. Whereas like a normal job, you kind of like, you do something and you do it for the company, and then it kind of goes into the company, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but it's like hard to see the fruits of your labor directly. You're kind of working for a paycheck and not necessarily experimenting directly with the world. And I found that to be really fulfilling and interesting on a day-to-day level.
Yeah, and you said it best, and it's the thing we always talk about too, is that time freedom, baby. That's what everybody wants. They want that location independent, time freedom lifestyle, and definitely being a content creator gives that to you. And yeah, if you partner with a business, then you can focus on your content. They handle the business, and there you go. So hopefully this motivated you a little bit if you're listening to it today, and kind of got you, hey, this is such a great opportunity still. I know it seems competitive. I know, your latest video might have flopped, but it's all worth it. And it's the biggest and best opportunity in today's era, and anybody can do it. You just need an iPhone, and all you got to do is get 1% better in every video, and eventually you will see the fruits of your labor, like you mentioned, and it's going to be a wild ride. Thank you guys so much for listening today. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts or somewhere just on audio, please follow us there. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to add an expert video editor to your team in just a few clicks, we're talking about video editing services. Head over to vidchops.com. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
Bye, everyone.